unfortunately, the mentor that I developed from one of those, he unfortunately passed away from a heart attack actually a couple of years ago now, and it was that was pretty tragic. I had since moving down to San Diego, we hadn't been in as much contact, but still hold him very dear to my heart. And unfortunately passed away. But he was the one that really switched it on for me. He had such amazing energy and such amazing charisma when it came to like meeting people and talking to them. And so that was the first one here in the US where I really started to kind of understand what it meant to live the American dream, and then also just understand the American culture as well.
How did his passing affect you and make you grow and whatnot?
I think every passing, people always life's short. I think that was a big one, but I don't know. It was really tough. It was so unexpected. I immediately obviously spoke to his family and was like, I'm really sorry for the loss. But I think everybody who knew him also knew how mourning over his death for a long time would not have been what he wanted. And people going out and continuing to live their life how he had seen it and how he had experienced them was very much what he would have wanted. And so I think collectively, from what I understood from the community of people that he knew and from how I knew him, I think the biggest tribute I could have given to him was just continuing to work really hard and try and succeed at what I was trying to do. And I think that would have given him, the best satisfaction.
It's a good feeling. In high school, I had a very good friend. I was kind of lonely and kind of depressed in high school. And I had a friend who studied abroad from Spain. And 7 months into his study abroad, his dad unexpectedly died.
Oh my goodness.
And he had to go home for the funeral, but he had to return to the U.S. because otherwise he wasn't going to get credit for his year.
Yeah.
And I remember expecting him to be... Sorry. I remember him expecting him to be so sad. I was like, he's my best friend, so I'm going to be there for him, but it's not going to be the same. It's going to be sad. And he came back, and I don't know internally how he felt. I'm sure it was very hard, but we laughed. We had good times. He was way happier than I expected. And seeing his happiness after his dad died is what helped me overcome my depression, because I thought all the things that I was sad about were just put in perspective. And one thing he said is, not that there's nothing wrong with mourning, it's the natural reaction, but
of course,
if someone you truly love someone and they truly love you and they die, would they want you to be so sad for them? That was an interesting thing for me, is like,
how do you honor that person how they want to be honored?
How do you honor that person, take what they taught you and apply it to your life?
Exactly.
So it's a very interesting topic. There was something with mentors that I wanted to make sure I touched on.
Yep.
Is you talked about the importance of having a mentor and the importance of having a mentee. Dude, I'm biting my tongue. The importance of having a mentor and the importance of having a mentee, someone you pour into. I almost think that the mentee might be more valuable, because the best way to learn is to teach. When you read a book, depending on how much that book resonates with you, you retain the information. But something I've been doing recently is, after I read a book, I either tell someone what I learned, or I say it in a podcast. And when you try to articulate something you've learned, it's much harder. So the ability to articulate something you've learned makes you learn it more. And when you're teaching it to someone who doesn't understand it, it's so valuable. So I get really excited when there's people who are quote unquote below me or have achieved less, because it's like, I'm going into that relationship to help them, but I know it's ultimately going to help me.
Yeah, it's just there's that synergy for sure. And I think that's one of the beauties of owning a business as well. I think all the books I read, everything I learn, I apply back into the business. So that's stage one of my learning, is how do I incorporate this back in? And then number two is then taking that into a sales conversation and selling that, I think there's so many situations where, our service at Market U can sell in so many different ways. And I think from just reading books, understanding different philosophies and ideologies, is you just sell that ideology essentially. Video editing is a byproduct of that, but ultimately we just sell the partnership that is working with Market U. And then video editing is something we'll do amazingly as well. But ultimately, it's just like you're joining a community of top-class editors. You're joining a community of people that are passionate about video, whereas you might not be as much.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you're joining that kind of community of people and that kind of ideology. And so that's what you're actually buying into. And then, you know, all of the edits and stuff that you get is the realization of that.